Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Generator Founder Series Spotlight. Today, I am joined by Eric Martell, founder and CEO of Pear Commerce. Welcome, Eric.
Hey Troy, I'm really happy to be here.
All right, let's get it started. Start by introducing yourself and your company. Tell us about Pear, the genesis of Pear Commerce, how it got started, and what do you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. I am at this point, 16 year in entrepreneur. I've started a couple startups. And the story of Pear and what we do, we're kind of the connective tissue or the glue between consumer packaged goods advertising efforts, like where maybe you're Cheerios and you're out on the internet saying like, hey, go ahead and like next time you're hungry, like think about buying Cheerios, and then the retailers that actually sell that product. So our product kind of maintains a bird's eye view of everywhere that a CPG company, is selling their product. Like, Cheerios is available in 45,000 stores in the United States. And then we use that to build experiences where Cheerios now, when they're running a Facebook ad or when they're running a Pinterest ad or when they're running a digital ad of any variety, can say, hey, here are the retailers nearby. Think of us next time you're in the store shopping. Click on this ad in order to buy the product right now. So we're the bird's eye view company that knows everywhere that everything is located, and consumer packaged goods companies really lean into us to supercharge their marketing efforts.
I like it. And what's the current status of Pear Commerce? Whether you want to think about that as traction or notable customers, partners, fundraising, how much you've raised, anything you're comfortable sharing in terms of
Yeah,
current
absolutely.
status.
Last I checked, we were working with seven of the top 20 CPG companies. The companies themselves generally prefer that we don't drop them as a proper noun, so like I'll refrain from doing that. But on the company side, we are a whole lot closer to eight figures than we are to zero. We are still sub eight figures at this point in revenue, but we're doubling year over year at this point still, or at least very, very close to doing so. We have a team of about 30 people. The revenue per employee is like pretty high actually. And we've raised about 17 million to date, but we're also really dang close to being profitable.
I love it. Well, congrats. And obviously getting to that profitability is a big milestone. So
Heck
congrats
yeah.
on
Well,
getting
we're
there
not quite there, but we're getting close.
soon. Um, and then where are you and the company located?
Yeah, so we're a full remote company. I'm personally Minneapolis, Minnesota. You asked earlier where the company came from. My fiance works in CPG. She was coming to me with these problems. She had these kinds of ideas, and we decided, my co-founder Alex and I, to turn this into a business based on her experiences marketing for CPG companies. So Minneapolis is a great town for that, with General Mills, with Target. But our employees are all over the place. I think we're in over 20 states at this point, and everybody more or less works from home.
And then normally I'd ask like, well, why Minneapolis or why Minnesota? Why the Twin Cities? But maybe in your case, Eric, if you don't mind just giving a little bit more of the history of your engagement with Generator, going back to your days at Eat Street, being a
Yeah.
managing director of our Generator Minnesota programs and so forth.
So, a quick overview of my career. In college, I started a company called Eat Street with my current pair co-founder, Alex, and then our third co-founder, Matt Howard, who was CEO over at Eat Street. That company was like a DoorDash and Uber Eats competitor, is still around. And I was there, through a whole lot of scaling, selling hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of pizza and subs to college kids across the country. But I was looking for a change, so ended up leaving Eat Street after working there for about 8 years. Moved to the Twin Cities in Minnesota. It's close to my family and my partner's family, so like kind of a nice middle ground there. And ended up working with Generator to open up this office. Was one of the first MDs, myself and Mark McGuire, kind of getting the program off the ground. Actually led two cohorts, raised some, funds to support those companies. Still am very, very good friends with the founders who worked, through our cohorts. But after, about 2 years of that, had the call of the wild, needed to start another company. And then ever since, it's been Pear Commerce. So, I mean, it's been great, and I loved my time working at Generator. So I've gone through Generator twice now as a founder. I've worked at Generator once. maybe by the time that I retire, those numbers will be like five on one side and five on the other side or something. We'll figure it out.
No, I think it's a great story because I think a lot of times people think, oh, well, if you were a fund manager, if you were a managing director at an accelerator, well, what's the value the accelerator brings? But certainly in your case, you got the chance to be both in front of the curtain at each street, behind the curtain as a managing director at Generator, and then the other side of the table again with Pear. And I
Yeah.
think it just speaks to kind of like the continuous learning and, the external accountability that I think an accelerator can bring. Um,
Totally, man. I mean, if you think about it, like I went through it once and then I worked at the accelerator and I still wanted to go through it again when we started this company. So that's a huge testament to you guys.
I appreciate it. Um, what was the biggest challenge you have faced as a founder, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna go like pretty zoomed out here. So I think the biggest challenge that you face as a founder is that you need to kind of like rewrite your decision making like mindset, almost to the opposite that the rest of like life lessons teach you. Like I was a decent student. I wasn't like the top of my class, but I was like that far away either. And like I think a lot of like, educationally and just like general like kind of like life responsibilities teaches you to be like thorough and that there is a correct answer to the questions that you're facing. And, perfection is the ultimate goal. And what I've found as a startup founder is that making decisions quickly and collecting more data and more data and more data, it's like do something dumb, but learn the outcome of doing that dumb thing and then do something smart as a result of it. It's almost exactly the opposite. Because like I would have failed all my classes if I got F's on the first midterm and then like worked my way on up. But in startup land, I think that it's a Peter Thiel quote that strategy is just another word for procrastination. And I think that that came as a very hard fought lesson to me over the course of 15 years of just learning to like trust my gut, move fast, make decisions, learn from those decisions, and move even faster. And I think that the way that companies generally win is by almost overwhelming the velocity compared to their competitors. For me, I mean, and Generator played a big part in this, like rewiring my brain to think about doing things in a way that yields the best outcomes after 18 years or 20 years or however long it was before I started my first company of learning kind of the exact opposite lessons in life. That was an important part of all of this. And like, I still struggle with that challenge.
That's a great answer. This is kind of related then. What's one thing you wish you had learned sooner as a founder?
Yeah, shoot. You sent me over the questions ahead of time. I think I jumped ahead and answered that question. But yeah, I mean, it's exactly that. It's that mindset towards action. It's not paralyzing yourself with indecision. And it's accepting that, like, you know what? If you're running 10 tests and two of them work out, but they work out amazingly, that's enough. Like, you can fall flat on your face 8 times out of 10. You can get rejected by 199 out of 200 investors, and that still yields the right outcomes if you just keep on throwing stuff at the wall.
Yeah. Remind us, when did you go through Generator? I know it was the Brandery program, the Generator Cincinnati program. When was that?
Yeah, I think it was at the beginning of 2019.
Nice.
Um, so I think earlier in the pod I said that I joined Generator in 2018. I think I joined in 2017 actually, and
That
then in
sounds right.
2019, it's like literally the first day of the business. Like we were incorporated on the first day of going through the Generator Cincinnati Brandery program. I mean, among other things, like, made some great friends in the program and honestly, like, fell in love with like the MD and the program manager at Generator and the PM Jess actually, when she was getting kind of like the entrepreneurial call of the wild, wanted to work on the startup side of the table. She's with us now working at Pear.
I love it. Call to the Wild. You've used that twice now. I gotta pick that into my lexicon.
Dude, I mean, every time that there's like, a little bit too much predictability in life, you just gotta listen to the call of the wild and throw a
Call to the
bomb right in
Wild.
the middle of all
You
of
heard
it.
it here first. Call to the
Yeah.
Wild. All right. Tell us more about your Generator experience. I know you were down in Cincinnati, but
Yeah.
what was that experience like?
Yeah, it was a great experience. I mean, Jeff and Jess did a really good job of getting us in front of, executives at the kinds of companies we'd want to talk to, Procter and Gamble, Kroger, like, folks that were really, really central to, best understanding actually like the problem that we were solving and how we could go about solving it. We picked up a long-term mentor out of the program. That was amazing. And then the second half of the program was kind of the investor roadshow. And, I think I was mumbling my seed pitch in my sleep by the time that I was done with that after meeting with so many investors. And we came out of it and raised a pre-seed round, just a matter of like, I think 30 days maybe after premiere night.
It's awesome. Um, how would you say the accelerator helped you the most?
Yeah. I mean, so it's different for the different two times that I went through the accelerator. The first time that I went through the accelerator, it was just like, how do you think in startup executive terms? Like, literally, like, how do you build a startup? I mean, we had this, kind of nascent business, Badger Bites, that was, growing like leaps and bounds in Madison, Wisconsin, but we hadn't really expanded to other markets, at least not with success. And you guys just helped us, like, you know, MBA for startups in a course of 12 weeks, as well as, of course, like all the table stake stuff, like helping us raise money. So that was amazing that time around. By the time that I went through gener8tor again, the second time, probably had a lot of, those kind of like startup executive skills, like coming a little bit more second nature. I've been doing it for almost a decade at that point. But in that case, it was the domain expertise that you guys opened me up to. I knew how to build a company, but I didn't really know too much about CPG and retail, minus what Chelsea had told me. And the access that we got to some really, really great critical thinkers was super incredible. And then, I mean, back when I worked at gener8tor, I always kind of talked about it as like networking as a service. Like you go through the program, you're going to get all these intros. You could probably get these intros yourself if you just like were willing to like work 40 hours a week on it every week for 6 months. But who has that kind of time when they're building a business? So to have the investor roadshow like lined up and just like, line them up and knock them down in terms of like getting our round raised. I mean, you guys just like connected me with all the people that I really needed to be connected to the second time that I went through.
And it's a good analogy. I like to use the like personal trainer analogy a
Yeah,
lot, meaning like the accelerator is kind of like a personal trainer. Like we're not going to lift the weights for you. We're not a bodybuilder ourselves, but we can hold you accountable. We can help you set goals. We can check in with you, if that's the type of motivation and accountability that you need. But at the end of the day, it's still on the entrepreneur to be a great entrepreneur, build a great company, execute, have success, build traction, and ultimately convince those investors.
totally.
What again, you have this interesting perspective having been on both sides of the table with gener8tor, but what advice do you have for entrepreneurs and founders that are considering an accelerator program?
Yeah. So, I mean, my first bit of advice, which is like the blanket statement, is that I think for 99% of founders, a program like gener8tor would be an amazing value add because, you know, there's nothing that's been built in the history of the world that wasn't built by humans. Like you can do a lot of the same stuff as you get out of going through an accelerator, but you're trading off with other things that you could be working on. When Joe and Troy and Jeff and Jess are opening doors for you and getting you in the rooms with the right important people, you just save yourself months and months and months of trying to build that network yourself while you're not doing other stuff because you're spending all that time building the network. So like I am extremely, favorable towards basically like make your life easier and move faster because moving faster is the key to like, in my opinion,
Yeah,
success.
I agree.
Um, for the 1% of companies that maybe already have product market fit and are going parabolic already, well, I mean, it's a different set of criteria. You're still going to meet really important people who could be helpful, but for 99.9% of anybody who's considering it, I'd say, hell yeah, like go ahead and apply.
Call of the Wild.
Call the wild.
Um, Tell us about your favorite part of the program, or perhaps like the favorite connection that you made through gener8tor.
Yeah. So I mean, one of my favorite connections was a guy named Alan Mason, who I think is still probably a gener8tor mentor. Alan worked with us for years afterwards, flying to Minnesota to meet up with us, and like my co-founder and I having conversations about strategy with him. We were talking to him on the phone every week. He was opening doors for us. He was a former Procter and Gamble and Kroger executive, so that was incredibly helpful. So yeah, I mean, I'd say, Allen kind of is in a tier of his own. But again, I mean, the total number of people in the agency world, in the CPG world, in the retail world, and the investor world that you guys open the doors to. I mean, I couldn't possibly even rank like how all of them fit in, but like they've all mattered a lot in our story.
I love it. All right, last question. I asked this to every entrepreneur. If you had one ask for the audience, the people tuning in and watching this interview, maybe it's an introduction, excuse me, introduction, an investor you want to meet, customer you're trying to get involved with, or just general advice, what would your ask be?
Yeah, I mean, look, first and foremost, my goal is to not really raise money anymore. Like, I mean, we're growing fast and we're doing it cash flow efficiency. So, like, don't need the investor intros right now. But, like, if you have a consumer packaged goods company, maybe, they're into Kroger, they're into Target or Walmart. We typically don't, necessarily find ourselves to be a good fit for brands that are just breaking into their first stores. But if you're, in a couple hundred stores across a couple hundred chains, or I mean, across maybe a dozen chains, that would be a great fit for us. And like, we'd love to talk to those brands about how we can supercharge their marketing and, 10x their ROI.
I love it. Well, we'll include a link to Pear Commerce, the website in the description. Always a pleasure, Eric. Always fun hanging out. Eric Martell, founder and CEO of Pear Commerce. Congratulations on all your success.
Yeah, dope. Thanks, Troy. I mean, congratulations on, the other thing that I gotta say is like, when we went through Generator the first time, there were like, five dudes in a room. When we went through Generator the second time, I think they crossed over 100 employees. I mean, you guys have built a hell of a startup now too. I mean, I don't know how big Generator's gotten, but I know it's across multiple continents and hundreds with an S of employees. So, congrats to you.
You were there since the beginning, so you get some of the best perspective on that.
Yeah,
All right. Well, thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.
cool. Take care,
Good
Troy.
luck.